Hello and welcome to Earth. I trust you have left your preconceived notions, prejudices, and disbelief when you set foot on this, the most controversial planet in the solar system. Good, because now you will have to be receptive to new concepts, alternate takes on history, and even have your perception of reality challenged at its very core. But don't be afraid. Think of it as an opportunity to free your mind from the communal thought that has influenced you ever since before you were aware of what was going on in the world. Today's date is February 15th, 2020, and here are some of the things you might have missed. News taken from the back pages and underneath the shadows of the headlines, hidden in plain sight since your last visit to Earth. It's been a few years since reports of fast radio bursts, or FRBs, were first reported by scientists. They only last a millionth of a second, and for a long time they couldn't even be tracked because they were so short. Now, astronomers have set up radio telescopes specifically designed to look for them, and while their discovery is now commonplace, many of them aren't as random as once thought. Researchers at the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment, or CHIME for short, have discovered a 16-day pattern to signals coming from an object 500 million light-years away, labeled FRB 180916. It sends out bursts for 4 days at a time and then is quiet for 12, only to start up again. So far, nobody has come up with a theory to explain the radio burst pattern coming from the object, but the speculation revolves around the usual suspects: pulsars, magnetars, even low-mass black holes, and that also means that they can't rule out the idea of them being created by some sort of alien technology, perhaps a beacon of sorts. Astronomers are looking to point other telescopes on the object to detect X-rays or gamma rays, but for now the mystery and the pattern of radio bursts remain. And another mystery, one that has been running since the late 40s, is what the government really knows about UFOs, or officially now, unidentified aerial phenomena, and what kind of research have they been doing regarding alien technology. One website, known as the Black Vault, may be close to finding out. They have been trying to track down the agencies and programs responsible for studying UFOs through Freedom of Information Act requests. They describe pouring through the sea of nondescript references as looking for a unique needle in a stack of needles. Acronyms like AATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, leads to documents that mention something called the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Applications, AAWSA program. With these as a starting point, the Black Vault began sifting through budgets and proposals to seek out what may be continuing this alleged UAP/UFO research. After a long hunt, the discovery of program element 0603286E was made, and one of the projects within could be exactly the unique needle in that proverbial stack of needles that was being sought after. PE 0603286E contains numerous sub-projects that receive funding out of their more than $100 to $180 million yearly budget. One sub-program within the program element is the Advanced Aerospace System Concepts line item, also referenced as part of a Project AIR-01. According to its DARPA fact file, the program, quote, analyzes emerging aerospace threats and possible methods and technologies to counter them, end quote. The proverbial needle? Maybe. The Black Vault hasn't got back all of its Freedom of Information Act requests yet, but decided to go public with what it's found so far to make the people aware of the government's efforts, hoping further public pressure will lead to more documents being released. We'll have more news later, but next, we are very pleased to have a special guest with us for the first hour of the program. Sean Stone, son of movie director Oliver Stone, will be joining us to talk about his new project and anything else that may come to mind. Get ready to hear what he's been up to next with Truth, the Amendment Avenger, our show contributors, and you. This week on Earth.
Didn't know what time it was, the lights were low, I leaned back on my radio, some cat was laying down some rock and roll, that is all he said. Then the loud sound, it seemed to fade, came back like a slow voice on the way. face. That wasn't no DJ, that was hazy cosmic time. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, 'cause he knows it's all worthwhile. He told me, let the children use it, let the children use it, let all the children.
The opinions provided by the hosts and guests on the radio show Earth do not express or imply the views of this station's management or that of the ownership of this station. In fact, it's just two guys lost in space.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Will?
We want your soul.
It really is a time when all of us have got to start talking louder than ever. The rapid speed of, if you like, globalization. The world government, world army, world central bank, world currency, world microchip population.
Take credit, take control.
Don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Get a suit.
The important thing is to know where they want to take us.
They have to destroy the dollar, destroy the pound, destroy the old order while they've been building the new world order, this technological enslavement system.
The FBI is taking on $1 billion project to gather fingerprints, palm patterns, even digital pictures of faces. Eventually, it could expand to include iris patterns, face-shape patterns, scars, even information about how you walk and talk. It's called biometrics.
We want your soul.
You can't handle the truth.
Time to piss people off. It's Saturday night, February 15, 2020 or 2020. What did they say at the Bilderberg Group?
As you like it.
Co-host Double A, a member Avenger, how are you?
Great to be here. Freedom is always your first best destiny.
Executive producer, The Sentinel.
Good evening, gentlemen, and looking forward to another great show with a great guest on a return most unexpectedly, and I'm looking forward to it.
Of course, from Connecticut, great contributor, big part of the show, hairraiserradio.com. Scott Hare, how are you?
Oh, I got a little bit of the OTN hangover headache, but other than that, I'm doing good. It's just very cold up here, so hey, but it's New England. What are you going to do?
Adam Earth in studio, hello.
Good night, evening, night. It's one of those. I'm excited to be on. First time speaking with this guest, so
It's been a long time since we've had him on, a little over 2 years. Mm-hmm. Our guest tonight for this first half hour is a welcomed guest to have back on, actor, director, cinematographer, author, all over the place. The New World Order is the last time we had him on for his book, The New World Order. Sean Stone, welcome back to Earth, my friend.
I don't like being on Earth. I'm more out in the cosmos, man.
Well, thanks for visiting for just a while. Good to talk to you again. The last time I talked to you, I gave you a call seemingly out of thin air, and I just told you congratulations for what you accomplished between you and to pass that on to your father for the movie JFK, and resulting in that legislation, the JFK Records Act, which finally got released, 50,065 documents in 4 drops. And so we definitely appreciate the work that you and your, particularly your father, has done in order to make that happen. So congratulations on that. So it's been like 3 years.
Cool. Yeah. In fact, my dad is doing a new documentary series on JFK, so that'll be a good thing to look forward to. He's going to focus on the records and the files and the evidence that's come out since the film.
Nice.
It's all, what is it, almost 30 years now, man. It's crazy how time flies.
Yes. But a lot of vindication in there, because a lot of the things were confirmed. Another thing I liked is that in the specials that came with the, because I have the special edition as well, a lot of the actors that worked with you were true believers, as far as that there was a whole lot more going on than what we're being told, and a lot of that stuff is just pure vindication. So again, congratulations.
Well, more importantly, who still believes that Oswald was the single shooter and shooting Kennedy? I mean, that's my question. Who actually believes that at this point?
Well, it's confirmed he was shot from the front and the back. So that's a pretty neat trick when you can do that, right? I don't believe Oswald did it at all, but if he did, to shoot you from the front and the back, that's quite a feat. So a lot
magic bullet.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a real magic bullet right there.
One of those Matrix guns.
Yeah. Exactly. So again, a lot of those things are, we were conspiracy theorists, but now we are correct.
Well, I always like to say conspiracy realist.
Yeah.
Conspiracy realist is more accurate.
Yeah. Or I like to say conspiracy analyst. I don't have time for theories. Conspiracy people are, and as Dr. Truth has said many times, people are convicted for conspiracy every day in a court of law. So conspiracy is a thing. Two or more people
Of course it is.
Yeah.
RICO is a conspiracy act that the government uses against people all the time.
Yes.
Hey, Sean, most certainly, this show has been, just like you, this show has been persecuted over and over again for trying to get the truth out, man. Pronounce it for everyone. Desiderata? Did I screw it up? I screwed it up.
Yeah, it's like desire, desiderata.
Desiderata.
It's when you sent me this clip, I was absolutely, I loved it, and I couldn't watch it again. It kind of disappeared on me. But
oh, really?
Let everyone know what this is about. This new project.
So Desiderata is a book. It's an Audible format right now. People can get it on Amazon, and I call it a cosmic fairy tale. But it's a very beautiful story that tells about, essentially it's like an Adam and Eve story about the fall of these two lovers from an idyllic realm into what is more of a human existence, but it's across lifetimes, so it doesn't limit the story to just one life, but it's the journey of the soul through these different forms that we take, and really in returning to love. That's the idea. The theme is how we find our love. So the male character finds his former soulmate, and he sees it in the form of the mother, in the form of the heartthrob, in the form of a friend, in the form of a girlfriend, the seductress, the lover. I mean, all these different characters, these different expressions of divine love. So it's a very poetic, beautiful story that has a lot of insight into the things that appeal to me, which is more the journey of the soul through this world, this earth. A lot of issues about why we're here and what is the purpose. I think we address that in the story to a certain degree of the meaning of life, in a sense. That it is this issue of desire. That's what desiderata means. Desiderata, the things wanted or needed. But there's a difference, right? And we, in our course of our life, are very much driven by things that we want, oftentimes to our detriment, because we, ever since, you could say, since the fall of man, it's been this insatiable desire for things. So the story is about the pitfalls and the peaks and valleys, and ultimately the return to union, which is where we come from, oneness.
I love it. And when is everyone able to
No, it's out. It's on Audible right now.
Okay.
Audible.
So right now,
Audible on
everyone can
Amazon.
go to Amazon and get it, right?
Yeah, they can get it, download it, listen to it. It's only it's an hour 45. It's like listening to a movie. Desiderata by Ali. Ali is the pen name that I chose for this work. And it's, like I said, it's a very lovely story. So if anyone feels called to this journey, this cosmic fairy tale of love, say like, fans of Rumi poetry or the things that really speak to the soul, Hafez, that kind of thing, I think they'll appreciate this.
I suggest everyone go and get into this new work. Here's the thing. What threw me when you sent that clip to me, Sean, last week. So I'm watching this clip, and at the end it says authored by Ali, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? Did he send me the wrong? So now I understand. Okay.
Yes. Ali is, Sean Ali is one of my one of my names. So I like Ali.
We only have you for a short time, right? This first segment. So I want Scott Hare or anyone else who wants to jump in, Double A, Sentinel, to jump in with any questions very quickly before we.
I have more of a comment, and you could go with it where you like. I have a copy of your book here, The New World Order. Really enjoyed it, and one of the things that I've done on the show is make the point about when Mussolini was thugging around, for lack of better words, when he was thugging around, where was the Pope? And you actually answered that question in your book, and you address the issue, and it's one of the only books I've ever seen that actually addressed the issue. So I just want to say my hat's off to you, because that was a nice little gem to find in there, that you actually addressed that issue, because most people don't even want to go there, but you went there, and so I just wanted to say I appreciated that you went there.
Yeah, thank you. That's it's a totally different kind of work, New World Order. I'm surprised it didn't get more traction, given the title alone.
Yeah.
People, the conspiracy community, I thought, would have picked up on the New World Order book.
Yeah.
And but I think it's a little intellectual for a lot of people, because it delves more into the relationship with the British Empire, like how the British Empire sort of transposed themselves onto the Americans.
Yes.
And I think some level of conspiracy theory just wants to keep it simplistic, where it's just like, Illuminati, Council on Foreign Relations, whatever. Like that, there are aspects of the Council on Foreign Relations in the book, obviously, but it's done in a way that's I wanted to keep it provable. I wanted to make all my assertions based in at least reputable sources, facts, hard evidence, not whims and theory. Because obviously I love going to theory, but just for publishing and printing, I feel like you have to have integrity of being able to at least back up what you're arguing.
Absolutely. That's another thing I appreciate about your book, is because you have a chapter that's 15 pages, but yet if you look in the back, like each chapter has, at the end of it, has the footnotes that has all your references and sources. And so one of your chapters is 15 pages long, and you have 71 sources, for those 15 pages. And I was like, that's another thing I really appreciated. And you do it chapter by chapter rather than a massive thing at the end of the book, so people can get all bug-eyed and get lost. You have it broken down by chapter, where you have your bibliography in the back of each chapter. But like I said, 15 pages, and you had 71 sources. I was like, wow.
You know how many conspiracy books I've read where it's like there's like three citations in the chapter, or like the whole book has like 10 citations. You're sitting there going like, I really want to believe this, but if you don't give me any evidence behind your assertions, it just sounds like people that are a little bit, just making crank things. And even, the assertions might be correct, but I just came from an academic background that I had to cite my sources and, have the integrity of at least asserting with evidence, as opposed to asserting something that may be true, but it's harder to get people to, let's say establishment figures to recognize the authenticity and integrity of the work that way.
Yes, and that's why so-called quote-unquote amateurs can run circles around the experts, because we have a firm grasp on the fundamentals, because we actually cite sources. And so, again, I appreciate that. That's one of the things I really liked about your book, is that a lot of awesome sources.
On this show, Sean, for many, many years, over 10 and a half years the show's been going on, we've had so many great guests, and all of them I've done. I've had some flops as guests that I've brought on, but I learned from those early flops, and so every guest we bring on, whether they have a documentary, a book, research in general, investigative journalists, all this that we bring on, they are the creme de la creme, like yourself. Jay Dyer, you know Jay Dyer, or am I wrong?
Sure.
About that?
Yeah. I interviewed him, but I also put him on my documentary called Hollywood DC, which is a great little documentary on YouTube that people can check out. And Hollywood DC features Jay, where he talks about some of the psychological manipulation components of film, right, and how film is designed a lot along the similar textures of like CIA, MKUltra, and other experiments into controlling the psyche, from like wartime experiments of how to shock, kind of shock and awe concept, of like how to manipulate the psyche through visuals and audio, and also just the overall juxtaposition of imagery, right? That's what film and television can do, which can play with the psyche very, very readily. So he was really good on those topics.
I always thought to myself, after having him on the show when he wrote Esoteric Hollywood, I always thought to myself, okay, if we get Jay and we get Sean on for kind of a roundtable discussion, that should be too cool for school. So maybe we should.
Are you gonna surprise me with Jay right now? Jay gonna jump on the phone?
No. I mean, I want to do that. But we can get Jay back on. He always said he'd come back on. So I mean, hell, Sean, you want to come back on, you and Jay, and shoot the S about all kinds of stuff?
Yeah, we can set that up.
All right. So we'll do that. I want to give Scott Hare, because we only have a short time with you, Sean. Scotty, did you want to ask Sean Stone a question?
It's good to talk to him, because you've told me a lot about him, and so to actually hear the voice and be able to talk to the person, it's actually it's actually great to do, Sean. So I don't know. Yeah, it's good to meet you, and your father's. I had a lot of things I wanted to ask you, but there's always been this question that I've had, and maybe you can answer it, maybe you can't. Your father's movie, JFK, really brought a lot to me at a young age, believing, even at a very young age, that, you're talking before high school, that Lee Harvey Oswald did not shoot John F. Kennedy, and your father's movie had a lot to do with that. There's a scene in the movie, and I've always wondered this, where Kevin Costner looks, it's during the closing argument, right at the end, where he looks straight into the camera as if he's breaking the fourth wall and says that it's up to you. I've always wondered, was that something he improv'd, or was that something that your father had him do?
I wouldn't know the answer to that, but look, movies are magic, right? You don't have to idolize the people that create them. They're magicians, but you are a magician too. And I think this is a big issue within, it's even within the Desiderata of the story that I put out. We've got to get out of this disempowering of ourselves. We idolize anyone. And I know you're saying like you're an idol because, you love them, but the point is that it's part of the psyche that we have to break out of as the human galactic species, not as, that's why I said, Earth is just a stepping stone on the cosmic journey. So, set your sights higher, basically. Don't get caught up in this mundane, issue about who did this and who killed who. I guarantee you that path will just lead you. It just ends you in a rabbit hole, in a sense. Like, it's not where we want to go. They say down the rabbit hole, but you want to be outside of the dimension. You want to break through it into the galactic story, which is to say that we are souls having an incarnation in physical form to experiment and play and do things, and rather than giving so much onus to certain people, which has been done for a long time to disempower humans. It's, whether it's the president or major magicians, filmmakers, TV personalities, whatever, stars, all this nonsense. It's all disempowering. And the whole point is, you talk about that moment when Costner's looking at the camera, it's up to you. Yeah, it's up to you as a consciousness to recognize that there's no separation, there's no such thing outside of you. That's all that exists. Is the I-ness, the isness, the oneness. It's all that exists. Everything that you experience in consciousness is a, how do you say, it's a slice, it's a sliver of consciousness, because obviously we haven't tapped into the collective unconscious, the totality that is the oneness, and I don't think anyone could fathom it in human form. Their head would explode. but the point is that we're experiencing this journey, each of us, through a certain lens, perspective, but everything you're seeing is meant for you to see and feel and experience, and that's what matters, going deeper into you. That's what I would say.
I love that answer, Sean. And with Desiderata, which everyone can find on Amazon, right? Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Audible. Audible's on Amazon. Yeah,
it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous because when you first called me about this, and you say, "Hey, Valentine's Day, right, is coming up, right?" It is a beautiful trek as far as everyone wants to find love, right, Sean?
Yeah, or discover it within themselves, which is really where it lives. But yes, to be it, to embody it.
Yeah, and as far as you writing this and coming up with this, that's it's something that not that I wouldn't expect it from you, but it's something that's very special that other people might not expect from you, because other people think, well, Sean Stone, he's Hollywood, he's a big deal. No, you're literally one of the most humble people that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and it's great work that you're doing. Period.
Thank you. I mean, well, speaking to what you were saying about, coming from me, it's like my journey has taken me from the 7-year-old consciousness when I was 7 years old, watching JFK as a story, right, and recognizing, wow, there's conspiracies, right, and going from that consciousness of conspiracy, power, what is power, physical, tangible power, presidents, money, gangsterism, war, right, the ability to inflict harm and suffering upon other people. Well, that's one form of power, right? Psychological power, how to manipulate through, whether it's religion, through media, through basic psychology practices, all these forms of power. Okay, so that's something I've studied for years. I went to college. I wrote New World Order. I was studying it in history and understanding all these manifestations. But it's like, well, at the end of the day, what is the human story? Because if we have been manipulated by this power structure, let's say, whether it's, I believe fundamentally it's an alien thing at the beginning, the Anunnaki story, the gods that we deify as these rulers, these elites that come to us, whether or not they're alien or human in just a different form, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that as humans, this journey has been endless to enslave us, to keep us trapped, and that's why the journey of the spiritual path is so powerful, because it's always about awakening us to our divine memory and to our sense of love, which is what unifies and connects all things, whether it's human, alien, ants, plants, we are all connected by love. And even though that there is a cycle of feeding and there is this separation that occurs because we do feed and everything feeds in this earth plane, but if we can let go of the glutton and the fear of separation and feed more in harmony, right, so that there's a balance, giving and taking, we can have a tremendously more beautiful planet and engaging with each other as humans, not as corporate entities, not behind the veil of separation of this empowerment of giving to others because they are more powerful than we are. All that nonsense. No, if we can just engage each other as humans and our animals and as our friends and our earth as our both parent and child, and this connection that's so deep and profound. If we can get there, this whole thing will change overnight, and that power structure will crumble.
It definitely reminds me of I saw a commercial on YouTube with you and Tyrell Ventura and Tabitha Wallace, where you go into a funeral and then you walk up to the tombstone and it said mainstream media, and I was like, yeah, wow, so that was empowering. So I enjoyed that. So I know we're inside of a minute, and I just wanted to say
we can go a few minutes over. I mean, if you guys, I thought I'd give you about 30, so I know we started a few minutes late. So if you want to go to 7:40 or 7:45 or something, I mean, I'm sorry, speaking my time. I can do an extra 10 minutes or something.
Great.
Okay, well, you want to do another segment then?
Please, yeah. So,
leading up, Sean, we can do that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, man. Always great having you on. Like I said, it's a long time since we had you on, and it was just great hearing your voice again, and to get you back on the show. Too cool for school. Sean Stone is our guest right now in this first hour, folks. Deep inside of Black Sheep Studio, somewhere in Jacksonville, Florida. It is a Saturday night. EarthRadioNetwork.com is the show's website. AA, Amendment Avenger, my co-host. How do people describe what show they're listening to right now?
This is a show about everything. This is Earth.
Everything that you hear, look it up for yourself. Knowledge is power, and knowing leads to the truth. More from Earth in just a moment.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Time to howl at the wolves, Earth fans. Truth here with my executive producer, The Sentinel, for Earth Plus. Sentinel, let's talk about what Earth Plus members get.
First of all, Earth Plus members can see the show from multiple cameras live or anytime they want. Every show is immediately uploaded and archived. You also get my exclusive Sentinel News.
And weekly videos, man on the street, sit-down interviews that AA and yours truly go out and film. And the Black Sheep Vault, one monthly show handpicked by me from years ago for $1.50 a week. That's $6 a month. You get a whole lot of content. Go to www.earthradionetwork.com. Become an Earth Plus member today.
Hello, this is Ty Bollinger, author of the best-selling book, Cancer, Step Outside the Box. I want you to know some very important information. In 1985, President Ronald Reagan requested that Carnivora be sent directly to the White House at a time when only the president could obtain this world-class healer. Now, 27 years later, Carnivora capsules are used around the world to keep people healthy. Now you can protect yourself and your loved ones in this age of superbugs with 17 naturally occurring compounds that instinctively respond to abnormal cells only without harming a single normal cell. If you want to stay healthy, now's your chance to literally wake up your critical immune cells to attack harmful invaders that don't belong in your body. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY or order from carnivora.com. That's carnivora.com. That's 1-866-836-8735, 1-866-VENUS-FLY, or visit carnivora.com. Protect your immune system. It's the only one you've got.
Chuck Bergman, psychic medium, will amaze you.
My dad passed away 3 years ago in September.
So it's funny how sometimes they never know what they're going to talk about. Did you ever have to have a car crushed? Does that make sense?
That was his job. He would crush the cars.
Say what now?
He would crush cars.
So, Matt, he really crushed cars for a living?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
If you have ever wanted to communicate with a loved one who has passed on, call on North Florida's best medium, Chuck Bergman.
Did he leave behind a sister?
It's his older sister that pretty much raised him like his
Sure,
son.
that would work. Okay, because he visits with her a lot. I don't know if she's aware of that or not. And now we got to give a quick message to Mom. Who's got the February birthday?
My mom.
Okay, that's a happy birthday to her. Also, a happy Valentine's Day coming up. He still loves her. Boy, he was like circling February over and over and over.
Book your private reading by visiting chuckbergman.com or call 904-291-1196.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
show that has been accused of telling the truth and has been found guilty. Now back to Earth.
Sean Stone is our guest, folks, for this next segment. Great to have him back. Sean, you with us? Sean Stone, are you with us, my man?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Double A, go ahead with your question, then I want to give Scott Hare a question.
Oh, yes,
very
absolutely.
quickly.
So pretty much Sean answered, but I was just saying that I really like that commercial about the death of mainstream media. But are you still working and collaborating on projects with like Tabitha and Ventura and others? Are you still affiliated with RT and other things, or have you moved on to other things?
I'm an RT contributor.
Okay,
so I'm not actively doing like watching the Hawks or that kind of thing, but I mean, like I said, my focus is more on the artistic, the spiritual dimensions. Not so fascinated by the everyday political spectrum, and the level of even conspiracy doesn't excite me that much. Although I think it's funny. It's like they're coming out with the this whole, what is it called? The revelations around Bigelow, the Skinwalker Ranch, and that whole operation's connection to the Pentagon's interest in UFOs, right? They spent millions of dollars looking at UFOs under the, with the private contract going out and Bigelow being involved, which is funny. I mean, because Tyrell and I were there at Skinwalker almost 10 years ago, right? And I mean, we knew this conspiracy theory was a show that we were doing with Jesse and that's the last season of Conspiracy Theory, but we already knew about the Skinwalker Bigelow connection to the military, and the idea that Bigelow was really interested in aliens obviously was no secret. But I mean, it's just weird how when you're into the conspiracy community, at a certain point, it's just like you get it. You don't have to. I don't feel like I have to prove it to anybody anymore.
Right.
It's like everyone's going to come to their truth at their own time. So that's more, it's more interesting to me is just doing the inner work, doing, living my life, enjoying my life, and deepening into my own connection to self and the spirit. Because trying to like convince people in this world, it's exhausting, and it's not my calling.
Right.
I'm sure there are others that are doing just fine with with their work and their experience. For me, it was more of like doing Buzzsaw and all that was really an opportunity for me to explore and learn and interview really interesting people that I like their work or their books or what they had to say, and I learned from it.
Kind of like what we're doing here in studio, talking to interesting people like you. So that's what drives us as well. So we have a similar driving force there. It is great.
Don't leave the fight, though, Sean.
Amazing people, yeah.
Don't totally leave the fight, man.
Right.
There's no leaving the fight. I mean, you got to obviously, you have to speak your truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about leaving the fight, but it's also just recognizing that there is, at a certain level, we have to recognize the limitations of knowledge, and from the perspective of mind, and going more into, the inner work and the spiritual side is just connecting more to your emotions and to your own journey of what are we here to do? Are we here to just have a loud, megaphone and to yell at other people, what to think and not to think, but just what's the truth? Are we supposed to yell at them, or are we supposed to just do our own work and be the exemplar of how we want the world to be? Because it's very easy to criticize. It's very easy to. I'm all for, like, of course, sharing knowledge, spreading, information is great, but it's just so easy to fall in that trap of criticizing, but never actually making a change in yourself to be the better person, to be the bigger person, to be, to break down the system internally first and foremost.
And of course, that's
right? You got to live it.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the history of the world. It's always been easier to destroy others than it is to change or to fix ourselves. I mean, look at the story of Cain and Abel. Rather than fix his own behavior and attitude, it was easier for him to just kill his brother. And so there is something to be said for that, for what you're saying. So.
Hey, Sean, when you brought up, no, listen, just slap my hand and we don't have to go there. But when you brought up the Skinwalker Ranch, I had years ago George Knapp, he co-wrote, I forget his co-author, the main dude, but Hunt for the Skinwalker.
Mm-hmm.
Very fascinating story of that Skinwalker, so-called Skinwalker Ranch, but you've actually been out there. When you went out there, was there any woo-woo going on, or what did you find?
Well, see, this is
I believe in it, Sean.
We were not invited. No, it's not about believing and not believing. It's like we were not invited into the ranch. We were on the outskirts, so I can't speak to like what they're actually doing. Bigelow obviously has a much greater understanding of what's actually going on and what they've actually learned and discovered. But Bigelow himself has said to me, I would never divulge what we found out. And, he's basically is cagey in that regard, right? Why would you not want to share your learnings when it comes to the UFO / ET / interdimensional? Because that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about beings that are interdimensional. That's why the Skinwalker Ranch is not a new phenomenon. It's an ancient phenomenon that the Native Americans spoke of because they had experienced all kinds of high strangeness in that area. But the point is, all these things, that's why I get back to like the point about limitations of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
From a mental perspective, it's interesting and it's curious. But at the end of the day, you have to directly experience for yourself, what does it mean that we are in a world that is full of these beings, full of these, these entities that are not in our own dimension, right? That we're talking about beings that are literally interdimensional or beyond our visible sight, whether they're affecting us at a level of the molecular to the macro. We are in constant contact with all these things. And so all I can say is that it's really it's an experience in consciousness that each human has to go through. And that's why I get tired of the knowledge side of it, because having started to delve into the experiential and then recognizing more and more that consciousness doesn't begin or end with sleep and wake. It doesn't begin or end with imagination versus word versus sight. It all blends into oneness. We have to come to a more holistic understanding of what it is to experience this world. And it's not just about the mysteries of the Skinwalker. It's the mystery of how plants, grow from a seed, and the mystery of how we as humans shed these layers of skin and cells and transform, and how we feel and how we can feel even more deeply into our emotional states and our feelings. And we realize there's so much mystery in this world. It's not only about the external mysteries, is my point. It's not about the conspiracies. It's actually, it's all oneness. It's just about experiencing more of your life fully and being present and attuned to it, because there's so much more to pick up when you go down that path.
You're totally right, Sean. Without no, you're completely correct, man. Because I've these guys on the show, Double A and Scott Hare, for example, Sentinel, Adam Earth. These guys all of us have been through interesting times in our lives, but they know me personally, and there's something that I've went through in my life that I let consume me so much for such a long time, and without friends like these guys, it would be very hard to come out of that. But with works like guys like you, your work, and others, it's helped me realize that you have to come out of that area in your mind, because everything is not about you, and there's so much more important stuff. I used to be a selfish son of a bitch, Sean. I really was.
Well, no, I understand, but I have to go after this. But my final point is, it's not all about you, and it's all about you. This is the divine paradox, right? Because you is not the ego,
right?
It's not the you of ego, which is only a defense mechanism that we've put in place over being socialized in a world that's hostile and predicated in fear and taking and jealousy, envy, greed, all these things that we call like the sins or whatnot. That has created the ego structure to protect and defend. You as the soul that is timeless, that is formless, that is eternal, that is pure consciousness, it is all about that. So it is about you, and it's about your experience of this planet and diving more and more into, the isness. Like I said before, what is your experience? What is your consciousness? Trusting your intuition, coming more closely to your own journey, and believing that it is about you. You are here for a reason. There is no accident. And you have a purpose here. You have a place. You are just as important as any other being in existence, right? From the ants to the lion to the greatest king to the pauper, all is here for a reason. It has to recognize that importance. So, yes, you, the soul, are it.
And
there is no mistake.
I love that. I love that.
And that flies directly in the face of the theory that out of the 100 billion stars and 100 billion galaxies that we're insignificant. When it's like
no, it's not. That's that itself is exactly how they disempower. Yeah. And that's the whole point. It's part of that whole thing I said before. There's been manipulation at every level, science to religion to government to media to medicine to disempower you. No. It's time to take the stand and say, no, I am it. This is it. Take that power back. So I got to go now, but that's where I'll leave you guys to chat about that, I guess, and ponder and sit with it.
I love it, Sean. Listen, let's stay in touch, and maybe you and Jay Dyer next time.
Cool. All right. Well, sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, my brother. Hey, tell everyone how to get it. How to get Desiderata.
Desiderata is on Audible. Desiderata, A Cosmic Fairy Tale by Ali on Audible on Amazon. Check it out.
That's Sean Stone, everyone. Sean, let's keep in touch, my brother. Take care. God bless.
Thanks.
Thanks,
you
Sean.
too. You too.
Thanks, Sean. Good talking to you again. Awesome.
I think Scott Hare is back with us. Scotty?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry about that. I had to take care of something.
Oh, you had to take care of something.
He had to let the
everything he said.
Let the cat out.
Everything he said was so true, though. Like I was just sitting here in awe of everything he was saying. It's like when me and you met, we talked about that. Everybody has a reason. Everybody runs
For a
into
reason.
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's not just a happy accident.
Nope.
There's a reason.
I've always believed that. I always believe there's a reason you meet. There's a reason people come into your lives. I've had multiple times where I've met people and I've just run into people by happenstance, and 5-6 years later, we end up being good friends. And and I've just had the opposite where you just run into somebody and then all of a sudden you just click. And it's nothing is coincidence. I don't believe that. I believe everybody who you run into comes into your life for a reason. They have something you're lacking, or they're lacking something that you have. And you're there. You're both there to balance each other out.
You know how this is just a damn true story. You know how Double A and I actually met. I wasn't supposed to meet Double A. Our guest was Mike Ostell, and I can say his name because he was our guest.
Yeah.
Okay. So our guest was Mike Ostell, and I went to dinner with Mike Ostell, and he had this dude, Double A, who came along with him, and we had dinner, and then he ended up coming in studio with our guest Mike Ostell. So that's how I actually met you for the first time, dude.
Right. Yes. And so that wasn't a scheduled thing. And Mike said, "Hey, let's go to the studio." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I was doing a little bit of sweating because, being active duty military at the time, I'm like, there's certain places where I can't go. I don't want to violate the Hatch Act or do anything or say anything that's prejudicial to the good order and discipline of the United States Armed Forces. Well, at the same time, taking a stand and saying, you know what, I'm going to honor my oath. And I'm not going to violate the rights of the American people because this is my oath. So, just to communicate the message that as the military, we obey lawful orders. That's how we roll. But it's also incumbent upon us to know the difference between which orders are lawful and which orders are not lawful. And so I came in to talk about that point. But for me, it was a very stressful thing because I'm thinking, wow, here I am 2 months from retirement, right? And I didn't want to flush that down the toilet, but no, it was good. You gave me the platform. We said what we had to say, and then of course other things happened where I tried to catch the show on the radio. My radio wasn't working, and then I was having internet problems. And I said, you know what? Let me just come in and sit in studio. And then the next thing I know, you rolled out a chair for me, and I was thankful. So again, that's not something I planned or something you planned, but it was part of the plan.
Yeah.
Right. So.
That's the way the universe works, right?
Yep. So
the great one has a plan.
Absolutely.
And see, I just kept showing up and sitting down and talking, and there ain't nothing they can do about it. I'm 6'8", 250 pounds. He ain't gonna move me.
So, creating trillions of stars.
We can outrun you, pal.
Yes, you can.
But
I'll still be here. You have to come back.
EarthRadioNetwork.com is this show's website, folks. EarthRadioNetwork.com in Jacksonville, Florida, in Black Sheep Studio. It's a Saturday night, AA.
This is Earth.
Hi folks, Ronnie McMullen here talking about the gain you receive from Get the Tea. A lot of food out there is not really food, but more like filler. Almost all fillers are GMO nightmares. When foreign fillers filled with toxins enter our body, well, we don't run so well. We are being bombarded with poor air quality, chemical water, and food fillers that abuse our bodies. And we wonder why they're building more hospitals. How about a clean checkup? Life Change Tea helps you fight toxins, fillers, bad air, and water. All you have to do is drink 2 8-ounce glasses of tea a day. Save money by getting healthy. Doctor visits are costly. Healthy exercise and Life Change Tea could be your answer. So order now at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Don't put it off. Call us 928-308-0408. Again, 928-308-0408. And by the way, if you're going to call us, we say good call.
AMCO Transmissions, the trusted experts in transmission repair for over 50 years, are also the right choice for all car repairs.
Yes, AMCO Transmissions, the name you know for fixing the most complicated part of your car, can take care of your brakes, tune-ups, belts and hoses, air conditioning, regular factory maintenance. They can fix anything.
Plus, at AMCO, if you think your car may need repairs, we'll perform a free multi-point inspection and let you make the decision. If another shop says you need a repair, stop. Then come to AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care for a free second opinion.
Why pay someone when AMCO will check it for free?
Don't trust your car to just anyone. Get it done right at any of our local family-operated Jacksonville area locations, including Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Additional diagnostic charges may apply. See Center for details.
Find the AMCO Center nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
AA MCO.
If you need car or truck repairs but money's tight, get help at AMCO. No matter what your credit history, AMCO has finance plans to help almost everyone.
Ever wonder why your tires have grooves and my racing tires don't? This is Brad Keselowski, driver of the number 2 Discount Tire Ford Mustang. Good tire tread helps keep traction on the road in everyday driving, and those grooves are designed for safe handling in wet conditions. To check the safety of your tire tread, grab a penny and insert the coin into your tire's grooves with Lincoln's head facing down. If all of Honest Abe's head shows above the tread, it's time to replace your tires.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
The most controversial planet in the solar system. You are listening to Earth.
Short segment right here before we begin hour 2. So we'll go to one phone call, very short segment. What is on your mind? Jacksonville, Florida. Gary, welcome to Earth. How are you?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, Gary.
A couple of thoughts, if you don't mind. First of all, the guest that you had on,
Sean Stone. Sean Stone is his name.
Right, Sean Stone. To say that it didn't matter who killed the President of the United States, I thought was an asinine statement, for the fact that if history, there's the fact that if you don't learn from history in the past, you're condemned to keep making the same mistakes over and over. And knowledge is power. And I'd like to know whether it's Lee Harvey Oswald or the government or the mafia, the real true story of who did it. And to just say it doesn't matter, I think, is ridiculous. Someone who killed the leader of the free world. Number one.
Well, I don't remember him saying specifically. We'll have to go check back at the words that it doesn't matter. But I think his point is
he knows, Gary.
It matters more.
He knows who killed JFK, and it was the
Right.
CIA and the globalists. Period. So Sean Stone's not an idiot, and I think you're taking words out of context from him, my brother.
Well, he did say that it didn't matter. Did he not, Scott, to your question?
Well, he didn't say it didn't matter in the sense of it didn't matter, but it was so much of at the end of the day that really wasn't the subject that we were really focused on.
No, I could see where you're coming from and how that could be taken out of context, because he's obviously involved in work to investigate Kennedy, but then to ultimately say, yeah, it doesn't matter. That doesn't even sound right. And of course, we are concerned about that. We do that. We have 10 hours of material on our website of just who killed Kennedy and all the research that we've done.
I have 10 years on this show covering that.
Kennedy wanted to get us out of the war, and the government was making so much money, built helicopter, and all that. They wouldn't allow that because these companies were making millions. Defense was making millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they didn't want to stop the cash cow.
Well, yeah, that's one huge part of it, the military-industrial complex. Of course, you have
You're right, Gary.
With Vietnam War, you have the Federal Reserve issue. You have the globalist agenda. You have all kinds of stuff. And but yeah, the military-industrial complex was a huge part of it, and that was actually a huge part of the movie that Sean Stone himself participated in, which was JFK, because he played Garrison's son in the movie.
Right, of course. I mean, obviously, Jack Ruby had his nightclubs. There were mobsters that frequented his nightclubs. The guy that they arrested for shooting the President of the United States, a guy walks up inside of a police station with a gun and shoots the guy who killed the President. Please.
Yeah, which is exactly. So what's really interesting is, of course, we have Jim Mars on our show, great friend of the show, and of course it was his book that inspired Oliver Stone to make the movie. So Crossfire, but Jim Mars, rest in peace. When he was on our show, he made the point that obviously it was important who actually killed the president, but and of course there's a lot of speculation, the mob, the Cubans, or whatever. But his point was, okay, whoever maybe pulled the trigger, but who had the power to cover it up? The mob didn't have the power to, get the Secret Service to stand down and then to destroy the evidence and cover the crime. So he goes even deeper with that.
Gary,
right. We all know it comes down to money. And the other thing, guys, quickly, I want to know if that general that was attacking the Democrats, the McCabe, the judge came out and said that it was equal to a banana republic. And I'd like to hear you guys comment on that, because I think it's fair to present the other side of the story too when different things come out. This farcical investigation of McCabe. I'd like to hear you guys comment on that.
Oh, well,
thanks, guys.
We'll definitely get that on the other side. I appreciate that.
Take care, Gary. Gary, Jacksonville, Florida.
Yep.
Checking in, and hey, listen, I know we sparked his interest on JFK, obviously.
Yeah.
Gary, remember this, my brother. This show. You're going to love this show, Gary. This show covers and has covered the JFK assassination, looking for the truth for many, many years. Many, many years. And I think we found the truth.
Yes.
We've always known the truth. The official story was BS. And
that's confirmed.
Yeah. It was confirmed even before it was confirmed.
That's right.
6 minutes, please. 6 minutes, please. Second hour of tonight's transmission. On the other side, this is Earth.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars, WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach.
You are listening to Earth. The guys are taking a break, getting ready for hour 2, and I'm sure that if you've been paying attention, you're processing what you have heard so far. Now, we don't want you to believe us just on what you have heard. Check it out for yourself and make your own decision on whether or not you are hearing the truth. What's really going on? Is this a total departure from what you know is real, or is it simply enhancing your worldview? That is a question only you can answer. We are simply opening the door to new ideas. Our thanks to special guest Sean Stone for joining us for the first hour of the program tonight. Look for more information on his projects on the Earth Radio Network Facebook page. Open forum discussion for the second hour, but first, more news from the most controversial planet in the solar system. And ours is a system that is still very much being discovered. One of the latest probes to lead in the understanding of the outer reaches of our solar system from Pluto and beyond is New Horizons. Not only did it capture images of Pluto and its moons for the first time, it has encountered objects far out in the Kuiper Belt that may have led to an even more important discovery: the way the solar system came together in the first place. Most scientists agree that the planets were created from smaller clumps colliding to make larger ones, a process known as accretion. The established view is that material violently crashed together to form ever larger clumps until they became worlds, but new results suggest the process was less catastrophic, with matter more or less gently clumping together instead. This paradigm shift is the result of the New Horizons flyby of the object known as Arrokoth a little more than a year ago. It's over 1 billion miles out from Pluto, is shaped like a snowman, and is a pristine remnant of planet formation in action as the solar system emerged 4.6 billion years ago. It's clear from the imagery taken by the probe that Arrokoth was actually two bodies combining to form a larger one. Without any evidence of collision like stress fractures or flattening, it proved the theory of gentle clumping accretion in favor of the violent collision theory that had held up for so long. New Horizons, for its part, continues to operate perfectly with all of its systems functioning. It may have enough fuel for another flyby of a Kuiper Belt object, but so far none has been targeted. It will eventually make its way into interstellar space, joining the two Voyager probes as another traveler in the void outside of our solar neighborhood. Stay tuned. Open forum discussion is in store for you when Hour 2 of Earth starts. Next.
I've watched the stars fall silent from your eyes. All the sights that I have seen. I can't believe that I believed. I wish that you could see. There's a new planet in the solar system. There is nothing up my sleeve. I'm pushing an elephant up the stairs. I'm tossing up punchlines that were never there. Over my shoulder a piano falls, crashing to the ground. In all this talk of time, talk is fine. I don't want to stay around. Why can't we pantomime? Just close our eyes and sleep sweet dreams. Me and you with wings on our feet. I'm pushing an elephant up the stairs. I'm tossing up punchlines that were never there. Over my shoulder a piano falls, crashing to the ground. I'm breaking through.
provided by the hosts and guests on the radio show Earth do not express or imply the views of this station's management or that of the ownership of this station. In fact, it's just two guys lost in space.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole? You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind. Do you want to know what it is? It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, you have to see it for yourself. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Do you really? Follow me.
And the radio show Earth is the red pill of truth.
You can't handle the truth.
I don't think so.
Second hour of tonight's transmission, February 15, 2020, or 2020, as you like it. Oh, as you like it. Second hour, well, we can go anywhere. Really, see, here's the thing. When I mentioned to Sean Stone about Jay Dyer, remember we had him on for Esoteric Hollywood, and I think that would be a brilliant discussion between the two of them, and it's going to be awesome. I am an a-hole. Scott Hare, you back with us?
Yeah.
I am an a-hole.
I'm not arguing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know you're not. Put your mic on, Sentinel, if you're going to laugh at that. There you go.
Yeah. I can see him on camera. You don't have to turn the mic on.
There you go. I actually that laugh actually resonated through these mics.
Yes, it did. I heard it.
So we did hear it.
But the thing is, yeah. So, but you guys, put it this way, Bob Austin, for Earth Plus members, was it 21 that we did last night? Bob Austin joined us. Bob Austin is the only person on this show that I can mention because he's the only person on this show that has known me long before the show started. Sentinel's known me since 2009, didn't start working for the show till 2011. Double A came in 13.
Yep.
Scotty Hare, 13, 14, all that. Webmaster Tony. Adam Earth.
17?
Very recently.
Yep. And Benjamin Knight came and went. So.
But we got plans for Benjamin if we can rustle him up later on.
Yep.
But as far as me being an a-hole, you guys see Bob Austin is the only person who on the show that I can speak of that knew me long before the show started, before I knew you guys. And you did not want to know me. Late 2001 to 2005, you did not want to know me because I was an ultra a-hole to a lot of people. But good friends and family members like Bob Austin, can't mention the other people because they're not on the show, they stuck around and understood why I had my a-holeness going on. They understood and all this, but they stuck around. But I am now a kinder, gentler a-hole.
Aren't we all?
Okay. So even when sometimes I say stuff or do stuff that may piss some of you people off, guys on this show, it's just simply understand you're getting a kinder, gentler version of me. So deal with it.
Oh, you get the nice version.
Yes, long ping pong.
It's like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's like saying you just had a small heart attack. So, yeah.
I don't understand, but that's cool.
So where do we want to go?
Well, we can go anywhere, but I think it's where I want to go.
Okay.
So
No, it's where I want to go.
me being a kinder, gentler a-hole, I would say that. Okay, how about this? Because I want to get this out the way real quick. Because we talked about it a little bit on Outside the Narrative for Earth Plus members this last night when we recorded it. There are going to be some edits going on. It was an impromptu thing, Adam Earth. It was just an impromptu thing. We didn't even know we were going to do it until we decided to do it.
It's fine. I was sleeping anyways.
And that's why we didn't call you.
Yeah.
Because just blame it on me. I
much whipped
am
cream.
the show's a-hole. So, but we broached the subject just for a little bit with the corona BS virus. And listen, as far as the coronavirus, it's just saturated too much. Everyone's got their own dose of coronavirus knowledge and news jazz. So I know the legality with this show being LLC'd. I know legally I cannot tell you, the listeners, what to do, okay? Because I am not a medical doctor, but I can tell you what I do, right?
Yes.
I can tell you what I do. And the reason why I can't tell you to do something here on the radio is because it's not because I'm not a medical doctor, which I'm not. I can't tell you because really at the end of the day, because the pharmaceutical industry would not like that for me to tell you what to do, but I can tell you what I do. So let's say that the coronavirus, so we can get that out the way, let's say the coronavirus is the most deadly virus that's ever been, anyone on Earth has ever been subjected to whatsoever. Blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Well, what I do is I take colloidal silver. Now, when something like a coronavirus comes up, instead of taking colloidal silver through a nasal mister, 3 shots into each nostril 3 times a week, right now, just in case, I do it probably 5-6 times a week, once a day, right, through a nasal mister. I take Carnivora, all natural. So the 2 aforementioned things that I just talked about, colloidal silver and Carnivora, everything's natural. It's of the earth. It's from the Great One. Not pharmaceutical crap, BS. That's what I do. Am I scared of a coronavirus? No. Man-made? Let's say it is man-made. Let's say it's not man-made. Let's say both at the same time. Guess what? The Great One has already given us everything that we have to have in order to keep ourselves, our immune system, healthy, and to stay away from coming down with something like the coronavirus. And what's laughable is if the coronavirus is a biological weapon, if it is man-made, guess what? Man can't beat God. Plain and simple. And the Great One has already provided for us. It's up to people to take care of themselves and inform themselves. Well, the tools are already there. It's not just Carnivore. It's not just colloidal silver. I'm just giving you some tips of what I do. And there we go. Now, coronavirus, if we want to go any further, like I said, it's just saturated. I think everyone's saturated with the coronavirus BS.
Well, there's not much new to add other than ask the question: Is this the race-specific bioweapons that Dick Cheney said could be a politically useful tool in his project for the new American century? We don't know. The timing is interesting. Their response to it, G. Edward Griffin has often said since the '80s, his documentary about terrorism, he has said that the action is in the reaction. And so if we look at the reaction, then we can understand what the action is. And so I'm more interested in the reaction, the locking down of 56 million people and the rolling out of vaccinations and then telling us you will comply, the demonization of people who are not on board with medical industrial complex. Just the fact that we don't even know what the real numbers are because we can't necessarily trust anything coming out of China anyway. So there's only so much that you can go, and there's only so much that you can do. There's things you can do for yourself, and I like where you're going with that, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and so that's definitely something that we can do to empower ourselves, is have that ounce of prevention, and we won't have to worry about the pound of cure. The rest is just speculation, particularly when you can't even trust the data that's being reported about it. And we just know that it's bad, but it's interesting. There was 11 cases in the United States, and all those people seem to be getting better because of obviously there's sanitation. There's other types of things that we have here, which seems to be working out. So again, more questions, but I like your approach, which is, again, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so if we focus on that, then we shouldn't necessarily. But it's definitely something you should pay attention to, but not be in the full freak out mode that a lot of people are, because a lot of times that does generate revenue for your show and generate interest to have sensational headlines. And of course, locking down 56 million people is a sensational thing. It's never happened in the history of the world. So again, but the action is in the reaction. So if we study the reaction, it will teach us a little bit more about the action itself. And again, whether manufactured or a real, what their solution is and how they respond versus how we respond, and how it's working for us is definitely noteworthy of a study in retrospect. But
Is
I
it a
appreciate what
virus?
you said about silver.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a virus? You mean is it natural or man-made?
No, either way, it's a virus, right?
Right, it's supposed to be a virus.
Then the aforementioned kills viruses.
Yes,
It's very simple.
Yes, silver kills viruses, and
so does carnivore.
Yeah, yes. But not to be construed with medical advice, just saying, hey, that's what we do.
It's what, I just said what I do.
Yep, exactly.
So sue me.
Well,
bitch.
Well, somebody might take you up on that offer.
I'm calling my lawyer.
All right. So yeah, but that's my only question. Is it a project for New American Century? What's interesting is, and what's sad is, I mean, look what's happened to China. First of all, you could say they didn't necessarily lost, but they definitely were forced into making the trade deal, because the theft of our intellectual property wasn't going to happen anymore. And of course, the whole thing that was exposed with the Bidens and their $1.something billion thing, and of course you have the Huawei and all the intellectual property, like aforementioned. But you have all these things going on, and then now, of course, communism. You had the protests in Hong Kong. Did all these things culminate? Of course, if you have a virus and it causes you to shut down your stock market, you can claim your total economic collapse, which is going to affect the world, by the way, because of steel imports and of course travel restrictions, and of course now you have cruise ships that not letting people off, and so tourism is taking a hit around the world, even in Vietnam and other places, because of their proximity to China. And of course, like I said, cruise ships and everything else. So in steel, demand for steel in China, and empty cities and all that. So it will have global ramifications. But is this just a cover for the total economic collapse? Because communism doesn't work anyway as an economic model, is a disaster. Now they have a cover, whether a real crisis or manufactured. They have their cover for they're not being able to even abide by the trade deal that they signed with us, which they probably weren't ready to do so anyway if they weren't riding off the backs of the American taxpayer like they were. And of course, that's come to an end. And so it's interesting how much of that has to do with all that. I don't know. So again, the actions and reaction, we're just going to have to see.
Continuing with pissing people off.
Yay!
I could name a few. Now, you mentioned with the corona jazz, blah, 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 and some people, talking about that a whole lot and really making a lot of dough while they hype up something, in my opinion, that's ridiculous. But like, once again, let's say it's not ridiculous. Well, I just told you what I do. You can protect yourself. It's simple. It's not rocket surgery. So, with that, continuing to piss people off, I am happy to say that a good friend of this show will be able to make a return to this show for the first time in a long time. A little bit later on, number of months, right?
Yes.
Roger Stone, because, oh no, wait for it. Wait for everyone to get pissed off who's uninformed. You're only going to get pissed off if you're uninformed that Roger Stone is going to be pardoned. If you're pissed off that Roger Stone gets pardoned, which he's going to be pardoned, it's because you're uninformed. But that's okay. You can start researching for yourself instead of listening to what you've been told to believe by the MSM, by the mainstream media, by the globalists who write the history books. Okay? So Roger Stone's going to be pardoned, and anyone who gets pissed off that Roger Stone is pardoned, which he will be,
well,
understand, it's only because you're uninformed. It's not because you're a bad person. It's not because you're not a bright person. It's just you're uninformed. I used to be asleep as hell. Beach volleyball was everything to me, and my chick, my fiance. It was that was my world. But once I woke up, when you realize that you're asleep and then you wake up, it's incredible. So if you get pissed off that Roger Stone gets pardoned, understand, doesn't mean that you're a dum-dum. It just means that you're asleep and you just have to wake up. And you have that ability to wake yourself up by researching.
Right. Now this goes right into the question that we want to follow up with. Gary asked the question about McCabe, the deputy director of the FBI, of course, who had conversations with Rosenstein, who was the acting director of and of course he was the acting director of the FBI at the time, but with the acting director of the acting attorney general, because Sessions had recused himself, was Rod Rosenstein, and of course the conversations they had about wearing a wire and then framing the president for under the 25th Amendment, which was something that Roger Stone had predicted before that even came out. Roger Stone knew exactly, said they're going to go with the 25th Amendment angle, and then this was before any documentation was about that. And he thought, you're whacked out of what? And he was 100% correct. So Roger Stone has some great inside information because, everything he's told us so far has come true. And like you said,
never been wrong.
He's never been wrong. And so what's interesting is the whole thing about McCabe. McCabe lied to Congress 4 times. Let's not forget Brennan lied to Congress. Comey admitted lying to Congress and even admitted to leaking. And he said, yes, I leaked this information to this professor to give to the New York Times because I wanted a special counsel, right? So you have all these people who are liars and leakers, and they've admitted it, whether it's Brennan or Comey or McCabe or and others. And they've not even been investigated, much less prosecuted for this. And then, of course, Roger Stone gets investigated for. Remember, this was all had to do with Russia collusion. No one was ever charged with colluding with Russia because, of course, Brennan, got the information from the CIA, gave it to the FBI. FBI said that they were suckered by it, but of course, Comey knew in January of 2017 that the information was bogus because when they interviewed Steele, right, the British spy that came up with this dirty, bogus dossier, he told them that it was flat out garbage. But what did they do? They renewed the FISA 3 more times, right? So they believed it because they wanted to believe it, so they could say, oh, it was predicated or whatever. But once they found out, that it was total garbage submitted to them by the CIA that knew it was garbage, and then when they found out about it, what did they do? They reauthorized it. 3 more times. And of course, even FISA says that those warrants are illegitimate, but yet they use those warrants that were illegitimate to then, through fruit of the poisonous tree, in bad faith, right, to continue to prosecute. Then they bring in Mueller, right, who 2 days into, if 600 days into his investigation, he had no evidence of collusion, that means on day 2 he had no evidence of collusion, and it should have been over. But instead they dragged it out for 600 days. But you have all these people, right, liars and leakers and just fabricators of evidence and making up all this stuff, and then lying to Congress' face. None of them get prosecuted, much less even investigated. So with this goes back to Roger Stone, but it also goes back to what's happening with General Flynn. So when Bill Barr says, hey, wait a minute, 9 years is absolutely ridiculous. Well, what they did was the lawyers, right, who happened to be people in the FBI who actually helped to create this ridiculous myth. And of course, some of the jurors were Democrats that ran and lost and were Trump haters and actually tweeted their support for the arrest of Roger Stone, which was a bigger attack than what we had at Benghazi, right? So just totally ridiculous. But all of these things are connected because what Bill Barr has done is brilliant. Bill Barr says, oh, Bill Barr is coming out against Trump, and you have all these other people saying, oh, no. What Bill Barr said was, okay, President Trump's tweets make it impossible for me to do my job. But then he went on to say that, by the way, we need to look into these other things. So for him to say, you know what, we're not going to prosecute McCabe for lying, right? Because guess what? They got bigger fish to fry, and guess what? McCabe did other things, like tried to set up the President of the United States through 25th Amendment and all that. So he's not necessarily off the hook for that. But he's also making himself out to be fair, because he said, look, we're going to give McCabe a pass for now, but we're also we're not looking at Comey or any of those other things, even though they've admitted lying to our face and they've done it repeatedly, right? Clapper, remember when he said not wittingly at NSA spying, right? Statute of limitations ran out of that. So if you lie to Congress, you have 5 years before they can prosecute you, but he got away with it. So they're like, you know what? We're going to let those things slide, but hey, why don't we appoint an independent counsel to look at the atrocities of what happened to Flynn, where the FBI said they didn't even believe that he lied to them, but then they prosecuted him for lying and forced him to plead guilty because they threatened his son. So now he reversed his guilty plea. They're looking into that, and then of course now it comes out what happened with Roger Stone. And so what's interesting is they said, oh, President Trump tweeted, and so therefore, Bill Barr is under the influence of the president. Never mind that the president has the right to do that, but he says, I'm not going to interfere. So you have all that, but check this out. On the 31st of March, he says, sure, I'll testify. But remember, the narrative's going to change. And what if a whole bunch of sealed indictments, get unsealed? It's going to be quite a different story on March 31st when Bill Barr sits at the table. So now all of a sudden, CNN is like, well, why don't Trump and Pelosi now try to get along? So after 3 years of relentless attacks, right? They know what's coming, and they know indictments are going to get unsealed. They know all this crazy stuff is going on, and that they're getting their hiney smacked now because he's bringing that all under control. And now it's time to get along. Nope, not going to happen. But all these things are interconnected between what's happened with Flynn, what's happened to McCabe, and of course what's going to happen with Roger Stone. And I agree with you. Eventually, he will get pardoned.
Yeah, it's going to happen very, very soon. Not eventually down the road. It's happening very soon. Scott Hare, when we come back, we need to hear from you, my friend.
Oh, I forgot he was on the line.
But, Roger Stone shall be pardoned, and that's just pissing in some people's cornflakes, but that's all right with me. I'm cool with that, I can put some sugar in the cornflakes before I piss in them for you.
Oh, good.
It'll make it take the bite off a little bit.
Give you a tangy taste.
EarthRadioNetwork.com is the show's website. This is Earth.
Don't believe everything that you hear. Look it up for yourself. Knowledge is power, and knowing leads to the truth. More from Earth in just a moment.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Time to howl at the wolves, Earth fans. Truth here with my executive producer, The Sentinel, for Earth Plus. Sentinel, let's talk about what Earth Plus members get.
First of all, Earth Plus members can see the show from multiple cameras live or anytime they want. Every show is immediately uploaded and archived. You also get my exclusive Sentinel News.
And weekly videos, man on the street, sit-down interviews that Double A and yours truly go out and film. And the Black Sheep Vault. One monthly show handpicked by me from years ago for $1.50 a week. That's $6 a month. You get a whole lot of content. Go to www.earthradionetwork.com. Become an Earth Plus member today.
Hi folks, Ronnie McMullen here talking about the gain you receive from Get the Tea. A lot of food out there is not really food, but more like filler. Almost all fillers are GMO nightmares. When foreign fillers filled with toxins enter our body, well, we don't run so well. We are being bombarded with poor air quality, chemical water, and food fillers that abuse our bodies. And we wonder why they're building more hospitals. How about a clean checkup? Life Change Tea helps you fight toxins, fillers, bad air, and water. All you have to do is drink 2 8-ounce glasses of tea a day. Save money by getting healthy. Doctor visits are costly. Healthy exercise and Life Change Tea could be your answer. So order now at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Don't put it off. Call us 928-308-0408. Again, 928-308-0408. And by the way, if you're going to call us, we say good call.
Chuck Bergman, psychic medium, will amaze you.
Any reason for me to see in a Rubik's Cube?
Oh, it's possible. That would have to do with my brother.
Why would you choose that?
My brother does the Rubik's Cube, and he solved it a few times. He kind of had them around his house.
If you have ever wanted to communicate with a loved one who has passed on, call on North Florida's best medium, Chuck Bergman.
There must be a reason why your brother that passed keeps talking about a cyclone.
Oh, my God, I'm going to cry. My brother,
Yeah?
a cyclone, picked him up and threw him like 150 feet.
Are you serious?
And that's true. That was the reason for him dying so young.
Oh,
is
wow.
because of that cyclone.
Book your private reading by visiting chuckbergman.com or call 904-291-1196.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The most controversial planet in the solar system. You are listening to Earth.
we're back. Scott Hare, hairrazorradio.com is Scott Hare's website. I want to give him some time to talk real quick. He's been kind of silent tonight. That's not his fault. Scotty, whatever is on your mind, it's my fault. I'm the a-hole. Whatever's on your mind, you can.
I'm not arguing.
I know you're not arguing. It's all cool in the gang. So if I was an a-hole, I'd tell you what I think about Roger Waters right now. Ooh. But I'll stay silent.
Yeah.
I think he lost his mind. But anyway, I'll stay silent.
Oh, man. I've been sitting here trying to fight off a splitting headache and trying to get my thoughts together, which is part of the reason why I've been so quiet. But, there's something good old Gary in Jacksonville. I just want to tell him this is not a knock against him. This is by far not a knock against him. There's just something I kind of noticed.
Please don't knock my friend.
That he said. No, this is not a knock against him. It's just something it's an observation that I noticed. And, he called in talking about JFK and saying something about, taking some of Sean Stone's comments out of context and, where he said the history, and he was talking about the history doesn't matter, but the history does matter because you want to know who did what and how it happened. But that's kind of funny because he supports people who only use the history when it works for them. When it doesn't work for them, they only want to move forward. And I don't know if that's something he's noticed, but I just found that interesting where, he's talking about how history is so important, yet, he's even come on this show once, the few times that I've heard him, and kind of hinted that the history isn't really important in certain things. So, that's not a dig on you, Gary. I just want to let you know that because I know you're listening. That's not a dig on you. You don't have to call the station back.
No, I actually,
it's just an observation I just noticed. So that's it.
I actually appreciated how passionate he was about Kennedy. I was like, wow, I thought that was just really cool. So I look forward to talking with him some more about it.
Yeah, and it was interesting because that's before I fully woke up. That's the way I was.
Yeah.
Where I believe that, I totally believe that, okay, Lee Harvey Oswald didn't shoot John F. Kennedy, but all my other views were different. Like, this couldn't have happened. This couldn't have happened. This couldn't have happened. And when I met Chad and I started to look into things myself, I started to realize, hey, these things did happen. And, and then you have to come to grips with that. So, it's just an observation that I saw. And yeah, I was very interested in that he thought like that when it came to the subject of JFK. But you gotta, then you gotta start asking yourself, well, if I think like this here, then could it be possible that the stuff over here is real as well?
Right. So if he could take that mindset that he has, which I definitely appreciate, and then apply that to other things, including people we like, because we'll even put people we like on blast when it comes to to the truth. Like personally, I love President Trump, but that doesn't mean I agree with every one of his policies, and even was not a fan of President Obama, but occasionally he wrote an executive order or signed a law that I did agree with, and I gave him credit for that, regardless of my personal feelings about it. So again, about him personally, I did give him credit for what he tried to do in Cuba. I think he went a little overboard with the whole Che Guevara thing or whatever. I'm like, stop! You were good where you were. Don't go any.
What he did to Cuba Gooding Jr. was atrocious.
Yeah. So I was a fan of normalization of diplomatic relations with Cuba, but then when he went over there and stood in front of pictures of Che Guevara like he was cool, and I'm like, no, Che Guevara's a murdering thug. We don't have to embrace the thugs, and we don't have to say that they're cool. No, but we can goods can cross borders, so troops don't. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not a fan of China, but we.
Have you been on this show? Yeah. Have you been on this show for longer than a show?
Yeah.
Okay, well then, Obama. How does it surprise you that Barry Soetoro, what's his face,
Yeah.
would take pictures and wear
Yeah.
Che Guevara
No,
shirts because he's a globalist
Right. I wasn't-
sellout. He's
right.
not even a president.
Right.
He's a puppet.
Right. I was
just like George W. Bush before him, his predecessor. Okay.
I think we can all agree that no matter who it is, no matter what person it is, there's always going to be things that you like about them, and then there's always going to be things that you don't like about them.
Well, it's called,
and that's with anybody. That's
yeah.
with your friends, your family.
Absolutely.
You know, there's always going to be things that they're doing or have done that you don't agree with.
Yep. Well, just like the founders, they all have things I appreciated and the things I don't appreciate about them. Welcome to the human condition, right? Welcome to planet Earth, you know. And so, but what's interesting is you mentioned something as far as what W did or is doing against President Trump and all that. And what's interesting is, but you did make the distinction because of globalism. And what's interesting is never before, I think, in the history of this country, have previous presidents been united and have been actively working against a sitting president from behind the scenes. That's never happened until now.
I
So
mentioned
not-
it.
not e-
I mentioned
yeah.
it last night on Outside the Narrative. And
Right.
folks, if you're not an Earth Plus member, well, you don't get to hear what happened last night. That's your
Right.
fault.
Wah, wah, wah.
You can only hear it if you become an Earth Plus member. But on Outside the Narrative, I mentioned that, right?
Yeah.
Because W. Bush, that puppet, that clown, that fake. That guy right there, he's written a book called The Last Republican President, and he takes time to attack the hell out of 45, right? Well, and so the point that I was making is that's his job. He's just proving that he's just as fake as Dick Cheney, his actual president.
Right.
Okay, he's just as fake. He's a puppet, like Barry Soetoro was a puppet for the New World Order. And so, why would W, if he was real, ever come out and attack the sitting president right now, who happens to be, I guess, a Republican? I guess.
Right.
He's attacking him because that's his job. Because as a globalist, you cannot not attack someone who's actually a real president and not part of their little party.
Exactly. But what's interesting is when Kennedy, right, started fighting against the globalists. I don't remember Eisenhower coming out of crawling out of a hole and blasting Kennedy, right? So it didn't happen. So so this is the first time.
The only thing he told JFK was, "Don't do it."
Right. Yeah.
Basically.
Well, yeah, he actually said that there would be no greater tragedy than for the U.S. to get involved in an all-out war in Indochina. And here it's 1956 when he said that.
No, I'm saying he warned.
Yeah.
He warned JFK
Well, yeah,
before he
so-
got out of office. He
Right.
said, "Listen, you're going to be dealing with a lot of stuff if you want
Right.
to be real, man.
Right.
Okay, you're going to be dealing with a lot of jack."
Well, and he warned the people
Jack.
about military-industrial complex, right? And then, of course, Kennedy talked about conspiracies in his speech, the president and the press. So you have a Republican and a Democrat president, right, that were both conspiracy theorists. And, of course, then you get Bush saying, let us never believe outrageous conspiracy theories. And then Obama says, there are people telling you tyranny's around the corner. Don't listen to them. So now we have a so-called Republican and a so-called Democrat president telling us, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, or that that Kennedy and Eisenhower were conspiracy theorists and they didn't know what they were talking about. Nothing to see here, folks. But yeah, so meanwhile, those same people team up, to attack the sitting president. It's like, no, now Jimmy Carter, to his credit, right? I don't see him a whole lot, or hear from him. And I know
he's got a lot of health issues.
He's got cancer and health issues.
Well, he's too busy building houses.
Yeah, well, he was.
I mean, it's a great endeavor, I think.
Yeah,
But, I think that he's channeled his energies into something more productive than some of the other former presidents, anyway.
And that's to his credit. Not forgetting he was a member of the CFR, and he pretty much let Zbigniew and others run his administration for him. But just the fact that he's not on the offense, which is why there's a lot of speculation as to the letters that were given to the Bushes and the Clintons during the funeral for John McCain, and whatever was in those letters startled them, and you could see the reaction on their faces. But Jimmy Carter didn't get one. Right, and Jimmy Carter's like, "Where's mine?" And it was one of those like, "No, you don't want one of these," whatever was given out, and I think Scott knows what I'm talking about, right? where they all got those letters.
We talked about it with
Yeah.
Dr. Agnew on Outside the Narrative.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I missed that one, but yeah. So good deal, good deal. So, but I just think it's funny. Jimmy Carter's looking like, "Where's mine?" No, you don't want one of these. Whatever's in there. But yeah, you could see the way Jeb Bush responded to it. Like his eyes bugged out. He's like, "I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see that," So whatever it was, but yeah. So if globalists want to team up against the sitting president, that just confirms again that he's the real deal.
There was the interesting thing in that though, and even Dr. Agnew, I think, brought it up on Outside the Narrative. Pence got one, never opened it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Who didn't open it?
Mike Pence. He never opened it.
Oh, Mike Pence got one, and he didn't open it. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, I never even noticed that. I've yet to go back and actually and actually look. But that's what he said. He said that Vice President Pence got one, but he never opened it. And that is interesting to me that he never even thought about it. And so that's
it's kind of like when you get a letter from a bill collector and you know what it is, so you don't bother opening it, just throw it in the trash or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I deal with that.
Yeah, it's just it was interesting, but it's who knows what was there. I mean, who knows what it was? But that's all you know is, man, they reacted. They reacted like their world just collapsed.
Yeah,
and,
so to talk about the action is in the reaction. So definitely.
I would love to know what that was. It's kind of like, I won't go there. I will if I want to, because then I'll just piss more people off.
I know what you did last summer.
Yeah.
I know what you did last summer. Like what?
But hey, listen, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna wait one more time.
That's what Bob was doing to you last night. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Scotty. I was just gonna say, next week, if he's I could just give him a call. So if Sentinel wants to next week, you guys can do the much awaited Secrets of the Universe show with Dr. Agnew and Sentinel can come on for Outside the Narrative, if you guys want to do it.
Were we supposed to have Amy on though?
Amy, dude, Amy is. All right, let me go ahead and announce this.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's where we thought you were going originally, but yeah, go ahead.
No, Amy can do Outside the Narrative whenever.
Yeah.
But she has a tight schedule with as far as doing the actual terrestrial show, this show. Mm-hmm. Okay, so next Saturday night, which I was going to announce when we come back from break, but let's do it now. Next Saturday night, Amy Waters-Jarzynski, former Navy intelligence officer, researcher, investigative journalist, best-selling author of the book An American in the Basement, joins us for the first time in a long time. She's a long-time guest, but she's been working on something, a project for a long, long time that we cannot tell you about. But what I can promise you is when we can tell you about it, you're going to hear about it first here, not on any other show. Amy's a longtime friend and incredible, incredible person and patriot, and I can't wait to talk with her next Saturday night for all 2 hours. 2 hours with Amy Waters-Jarzynski, okay? But she wants to do an Outside the Narrative, guys, but we can schedule that. We can schedule it next week, but I'm just saying I think Sentinel wants to get in at some point in time, and we can have Agnew and Sentinel and whenever you guys want to do it.
Oh, Secrets of the Universe Part 1, because there's just too many secrets.
Works for me.
Well, whatever you want to do. I mean,
just
suggesting.
Yeah.
It works for me, yeah.
Roger that.
Sentinel sounds very.
Well, just let me know if it's going to, remind me probably by Tuesday or Wednesday so I don't forget and everything. And just give me a call when you're ready.
Okay. I'll call Brooks tomorrow before his show and see if he wants to do it. And, I mean, I think it'd be cool if you guys do it with Brooks, Not sexually, but just do the show with Brooks.
Wow. That's well, there's Secrets of the Universe, and then there's.
This was a family show.
Yeah, it sure was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I'm trying to hit all areas of
past tense. Yeah,
all areas of pissedom.
Okay.
I think the headache was from Outside the Narrative, so now I just got a bigger one.
All right, so I'll call Brooks. If you guys want to be on with Brooks, geez, just let me know.
Yeah.
Sentinel Thursday nights or Friday nights or either
Thursday
one?
nights are probably better. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, then we shall do that. For Earth Plus members, another episode 21 was last night. That'll be on its way after some careful editing.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 parts because it went long. So it's definitely going to be 2 parts.
Oh, a double album. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like when Richard Donner filmed the original Superman movie back in 1980. And actually, Superman 1 and 2 were both filmed at the same time. And the actors only got paid for 1 movie, but then they split it into 2 movies. So they weren't too happy about that. But it's nice when you have the same director for both movies, and it's shot at the same time. Nobody ages or dies or anything, so you get twice the bang for your buck, and you retain the quality. So that's what happened with us last night. Twice the bang for your buck. We retained the quality. Nobody died.
So go right now.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Yeah. EarthRadioNetwork.com is the way you do that. EarthRadioNetwork.com. Jeez Louise. Only one more segment before the end of tonight's show. Thank you.
Yep.
It's been a great show as always. AA, people are listening to a show that makes Pappy buoyant and proud, man.
Yes, Baba Black Sheep Studios. Hoorah! VMFA 214. This is Earth.
Hello, this is Ty Bollinger, author of the best-selling book, Cancer, Step Outside the Box. I want you to know some very important information. In 1985, President Ronald Reagan requested that Carnivora be sent directly to the White House at a time when only the president could obtain this world-class healer. Now, 27 years later, Carnivora capsules are used around the world to keep people healthy. Now you can protect yourself and your loved ones in this age of superbugs with 17 naturally occurring compounds that instinctively respond to abnormal cells only without harming a single normal cell. If you want to stay healthy, now's your chance to literally wake up your critical immune cells to attack harmful invaders that don't belong in your body. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY or order from carnivora.com. That's CARNIVORA.com. That's 1-866-836-8735, 1-866-VENUS-FLY, or visit carnivora.com. Protect your immune system. It's the only one you've got.
AMCO Transmissions, the trusted experts in transmission repair for over 50 years, are also the right choice for all car repairs.
Yes, AMCO Transmissions, the name you know for fixing the most complicated part of your car, can take care of your brakes, tune-ups, belts and hoses, air conditioning, regular factory maintenance. They can fix anything.
Plus, at AMCO, if you think your car may need repairs, we'll perform a free multi-point inspection and let you make the decision. If another shop says you need a repair, stop. Then come to AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care for a free second opinion.
Why pay someone when AMCO will check it for free?
Don't trust your car to just anyone. Get it done right at any of our local family-operated Jacksonville area locations, including Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Additional diagnostic charges may apply. See Center for details.
Find the AMCO Center nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
AA MCO.
If you need car or truck repairs but money's tight, get help at AMCO. No matter what your credit history, AMCO has finance plans to help almost everyone.
Are you tired of getting hit in the head or told to roll over because of your loud, annoying snoring? And you don't want to revert to a CPAP machine strapped to your face? Well, why not try a custom-made snore guard by Somnomed? Your risk for stroke and heart attack will be reduced by 30%. Hi, this is Dr. James McCall, and I wear a Somnomed snore guard, and I'm sleeping better than ever, and my wife couldn't be happier. Call me at 620-9225 and see if you're a candidate for a custom-made snore guard, which is covered by most health insurance plans. Give me a call at 620-9225.
Now, back to Earth, the most controversial planet in the solar system. Here's Dr. Truth.
Double in here. Welcome back to Earth.
Are we doing a radio show still?
The most controversial planet in the solar system. Yes, we are.
Okay.
So,
Scotty Hare is with us as well. HairRaiserRadio.com. Scotty, parsing words.
Closing
before
remarks.
the end of tonight's transmission.
As we say in the Navy,
You know-
any saved
Sorry.
rounds? Any saved rounds? Saved rounds.
No, I got no
ATM
rounds tonight.
hangover.
Hey, I got a great idea, guys. I almost, because I'm the a-hole, so I'm just going to, hey, do you want to talk? Forget about that. I got a great idea. I'm going to pass this by you guys, okay?
Okay.
You know how we do theme wars, and we're going to continue doing theme wars and all that jazz, right? How about we also, in the tradition of theme wars, but it's going to take a little bit of work on everyone's part, so I'll do it myself the first time, right? Same deal as theme wars as far as first to 5 wins, all that jazz, but it's called something like How Well Do You Know Me? So, for example, I'll do it the first time. I'll come up with, let's say, 20 questions, right? I'll have to, and Sentinel, that way he can play as well. All of us can play. I'll have to decide who says their name first, right? But I'll have 20 questions about myself, just like all of you guys will when it's your
Eventually.
turn to play, right?
Right.
So if, I ask question 1, whoever says their name first, boom, boom, boom. How well do you know me?
Right.
I like it.
Cool.
So
I like
good.
it.
Everyone likes it because I do.
I will win.
Sweet me. So
I think he's just not. I think he's just getting tired of losing at theme wars.
Yes.
Well,
what are we talking about?
That's
Everyone,
all of us.
everyone gets a chance. Sentinel, now he has his mic on.
Yeah, so right. So here's
I try to get yelled at only once per show.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you don't want to feel left out. So maybe make sure you get at least once in there. But when I was in speech class, one of the things we had to do when I was at college going for speech, my communications is great. We had to get up there and tell the class 3 things about us. 2 of them had to be false, and 1 of them was true. And then the students had to guess which ones were false and which ones were true, and that would sort of be, that would
That could be a
determine-
bonus round.
So one of the things we could do, for maybe bonus round, is drop 3 things about ourselves, and 2 of them are false, 1 of them is true, and then we have to guess which one.
So, like, if there's a tie, 10-10.
I don't know. So, I'm
I
just
think
saying.
that'd actually be a better game, but it's like maybe the stakes have to be higher somehow.
Yeah.
I like
figure it out.
I like Dr. Truth's idea.
Just straight up, you write
20
some questions that are just questions, and how well do you know me?
Maybe not 20, maybe 10.
Dude, I'm going to write, it's 20 questions because you don't know, Double A or Scott Hare, who cheats all the time, might Google every answer. But what I'm saying is, seriously, it might be a route with 8 questions. Scott Hare might win 5-3.
All right.
You understand? So you got 20
He is
questions.
still really, Sentinel, he's still really sore that I shut him out in that holiday theme wars, isn't he?
We all are.
You shut everybody out in that one, man. I mean, I don't know what the hell you were smoking that night.
I don't play with him no more. Y'all play that game. Leave me out of it.
We're gonna take my beach ball and go home. That's it, Mister. We're done.
Oh, we're doing theme wars again. We're just not doing the holiday weird thing. Scotty Hare, how do people? We're getting out of here, my brother. Call sign.
HairRaiserRadio.com.
HairRaiserRadio.com, folks. That's Scott Hare. Love you, my brother. Love you too, Chad. You too, buddy.
All right. Looking forward to Mysteries of the Universe coming on Outside the Narrative. I'm Double A, the Amendment Avenger, and freedom is always your first best destiny.
Adam Earth.
Good night.
Sentinel, great show, my brother.
Great show as always. Looking forward to next week.
For our webmaster, Tony, and the great Bob Austin, folks. Until next time, let justice be done, though the heavens fall. I'm Truth. This is the one and only Earth. God bless.
'Cause everything is never as it seems.
And we close with good night, good luck, and God bless all of you.